YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So let's get right into this video. Let's talk about how your light never dims, right? So you've already known that your life has been different. You're completely different. You're unique. You have spiritual gifts. You're highly gifted. You're chosen. You could go through like the most terrible situations, and you could go through hell for like multiple years in a row. Just go through a lot of just suffering, a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of things that would make a lot of people just completely bitter and make them turn cold, make them turn cold-hearted. But for you, because you are a light, and you know that you are a light, because if you're watching this video, you could likely relate to this, but you've gone through a lot of situations in your life, whatever these situations are, and these situations could have started very young. I'm telling you, they could have started since you were like 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, or whatever, just at a really young age, whatever these situations are. But none of these situations have ever prevailed against you, like whatever it is, like whatever the suffering is, whatever these situations are. You've never lost that light. You've always had a light to you. And that light will never, ever, ever dim. And I'm not talking about you don't get like frustrated, or you don't get a little mean for like a split, like a little amount of time, but it never lasts. You never grow up to just be completely cold, right? You just grow up to be smarter. If your light never dims, you just grow up to be smarter and stronger, because then you get discernment for certain things, and you learn a lot more. But your own light and your own kindness just stays, right? And you might even been frustrated with yourself, because like you could have wanted to like really just be, angry. You wanted just to go off on people, or just throw in the towel and be like, man, I hate this. Like, this is pointless, blah, blah, blah. All these things. You might have even wanted to actually do this, but you still can't, right? It's because that light inside of you, the Spirit of God never lets you it never lets you fall, never lets you fall in character, never lets you fall in behavior. Your behavior never changes, right? You always have this light. You never lose this type of warmness to you because of that Spirit, because the Spirit of God doesn't ever dim, right? So if you have that Spirit, you're never going to get dim. So when you look at Jesus too, going through all of the terrible things he had, he was still asking God to forgive people. He was still saying, they know not what they do. He was still showing love and everything. This is how your spirit is too. This is just who you are. So you could go through a lot of bad situations, whether that's with people, or whether that's whatever has been going on in your life, whatever dark situation it is. That light has never seemed to dim. You still kept kindness. You still kept giving. You still kept being optimistic. You still kept having faith and everything. This is why you always continue to get blessed. This is why you always seem to make it out of everything. Like you could literally get this close to just perishing, right? And then you don't. You just come back even stronger. Then you come back even better. This is how your life is, because you've been constantly protected by God, and God sees like what you're going through, whatever it is that you're going through. And whatever these trials could be, you just find yourself to always have been the same person. You might even question and be like, how am I like this type of person? Like, how am I not like cold yet? How am I not bitter? How am I not being mean? How am I not being, malicious towards people? It's because that's not who you are. It's in the Spirit. Your spirit is unstoppable, because your spirit's eternal, right? Your flesh is the only thing the flesh and the world is not eternal, right? That's just a temporary place, but your spirit is eternal. And that's why your spirit can handle so much, and your spirit never dims. You never truly go down so low to where like you can't come back up, right? And I'm not saying either that you haven't gone through like mental issues. Like you could have been like depressed for a long time. You could have been really anxious, could have mental health issues or whatever. But even through those issues, you still had a light. Your light has never dimmed. So you could have been carrying all these things, and you kind of carry things with grace. This is why I've talked about how you kind of go through suffering with grace. In one of my old videos, graceful suffering, right? Go through a lot of like trials and tribulations with grace. Like you don't really complain about it much. You could get frustrated, but you don't complain about it. You don't say, oh, why me? You don't start complaining or like victimizing yourself about it, whatever the situations could be, or like or like screaming at the world, be like, this is so unfair or anything like that, you'll never find yourself doing that, right? Because you already know that your spirit always kind of keeps you up. And before you knew that you had the Spirit of God in you, that you're in God's hand, like you're a chosen one, before you knew it, you could have gone through your life and you were probably kind of like blind to it. You're kind of like going through a lot of situations and you wouldn't even know like why you're going through these situations, like why do you even have these issues, or like why you're going through whatever it is that you're going through. But still, ever since you were young, you've been able to do everything with grace. You've been able to just get through it. You've been able to kind of power through everything. This is how your life has been. Your spirit is so strong, you can just power through like anything. You don't ever just lose like your ambition. You don't ever lose your drive. Even if your life is constant battles and trials and tribulations, you kind of never lost that drive. And you've always made it out. And this is how powerful God is, because God is the one that created you. God put his spirit inside you, and that spirit is extremely, extremely strong. And the spirit is so strong to where you cannot even just stop. Like you can't stop having faith with that spirit. You just can't. You're always having faith. You're never the type of person who kind of just says, no, I can't do this, I'm just going to stop doing this, like I won't be able to obtain it. No, you're the type of person, because of your spirit, you're the type of person that whatever's going on in your life, you're still shooting for the high point, right? Like your purpose, you're still shooting for it. This is how strong you really are. So if you're watching this video, you know that you're extremely powerful. But because you're extremely powerful, you also have sensitivity and everything. Like you're also a person with strong discernment. Like you're a person who's empathetic. You see things. You see what goes on with people. You see what goes on with the world. You see everything, right? And this is a blessing and a curse, because sometimes it's better not to be able to know things, but you're not created that way. You're created to have wide open eyes. So you see through everything. You see through what you've been through. You see through what people have been through. You see through what goes on in the world. You see through what's good about the world. You see through what's bad about the world. You see evil. You see good. You see light. You see dark. You see all of it. This is just how you are. And it's a blessing to be like this, because not only do you know the truth, but you know where you have to go, right? You know what you have to do, because you see through everything. You know who you have to be around, what you have to do, what's going to actually work out for you, where you're supposed to be and everything. So it's all a blessing. God has been kind of crafting you ever since you were young, because that's why ever since you were young, you've always had like weird situations happen. You've always had weird situations with people. You've had weird situations with just random things in general, weird like occurrences in your life that don't make any sense. All of these things, it's just because of the spirit that you have, right? So because of that bright spirit, since you're a light, like you get attracted. I mean, people are attracted to you, like whether that's good people, whether that's bad people. People and things are just attracted to you. You've always been the type of person to just attract things and people. Like people may come up and talk to you. Things might just come your way, like whatever it is, things start working out for you. You just kind of attract a lot of things. You've never been the type of person to really have to like chase anything, right? I'm not saying that you don't pursue anything, like you want to do anything. I'm just saying you've never really been the type of person to have to chase. Like things for you don't really have much resistance. Like they just come through you, because like you're not created to be the type of person that chases anything. You're not created the type of person that has to completely just force yourself through a lot of things and just keep forcing and forcing and forcing. You're not supposed to be like that, right? And God has probably showed you this too, because you could have been the type of person to like chase a lot of things before and it doesn't work out. Because the more that you chase things, the more they kind of run away, right? Whatever it is that you're chasing, or a person, whatever, they kind of run away. Because you're not created to be that type of person. You're created to attract, because you're a light. Things are attracted to the light. Light isn't attracted to things, right? So if you are a light, things are going to be attracted to you. So it's just how you are. But because you're also this light, you've been able to handle a lot of trials, a lot of tribulations, a lot of pain with grace. Like you've never been the type of person to just turn cold-hearted, or turn like hating people or hating the world. Like, you've never been like that. Like, you see through the good and the bad in the world, but you never turn into a bitter type of person, or you never turn into just anyone that's malicious, right? And that spirit is it's just incredibly strong. Like, you might not even realize how truly like powerful you really are, like what you could actually take, like how extremely resilient you could be. Like, you're insanely resilient because your spirit is unstoppable, right? You're unstoppable. Like, you could go through like 9 different things at one time, like 9 just really bad things, and you're still, not only are you still bright and you're still loving and you're still kind, you're still energetic and anything, but you just take down every challenge, and you just become better. You take down all these trials and tribulations, and you become better. You just keep conquering things, right? You're a natural conqueror, right? Because you're in God's hand, and Jesus was a conqueror, right? You conquer things. You're just a natural conqueror. So whatever is going on in your life, whatever that you go through in life, you're gonna conquer. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter how hard it looks, how bad it is now, because your life could change so fast. You could literally do a whole 180 just all of a sudden and completely change, and like whatever that you were going through just becomes a distant memory, right? Because your life could change really fast. You're an extremely powerful person. You have a powerful spirit. You're chosen by the Most High, the most powerful one in the world. You're extremely powerful because God is extremely powerful. So if you have that spirit in you, you're unstoppable. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, if you enjoyed, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment. And if you're not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe and turn on those bells so you can see a video right when it comes out. And all right, God bless you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.